Before we get started, here's our safe harbor statement. This is just a legal statement explaining that you should still do your homework when you choose your tech. So, welcome to Unity's Developer Summit and to Game Developer Conference 2024. Today, I'm grateful to be able to present, along with a very talented crew, our roadmap for 2024 and maybe a bit of a tease to look beyond. Last year, we announced the next version of the Unity engine, Unity 6, and promised it would boost your productivity and give you the ability to create more immersive worlds with more players, more objects, more assets than you've been able to target before. For today's talk, we decided to look at Unity 6 a little differently. And rather than divide this talk up into individual products or features, we looked at areas of game creation that you asked us about the most. So that's what we'll see today. Before we dig in, let's take a look at what's been happening recently. We released Unity 22 LTS last year, and the adoption of this latest version has been incredible. In February, more than 60% of all actively worked on projects were done so in Unity 22 LTS. And what's been gratifying is that along with the sheer number of projects being worked on is the fact that we've also improved the quality of the engine in big ways. And we're seeing less issues reported over time compared to previous versions. We continue to release a new build every 2 weeks, and I want to confirm that we will support Unity 22 LTS in production for some time to come, ensuring that you can have the confidence to continue to build your projects until you launch. Turning our eyes towards Unity 6, there are more than 50 major features being updated or added to the editor and runtime, along with hundreds of minor improvements across the editor. There are thousands of you using the Unity 6 beta. And with Unity 6 Preview just around the corner, fully supported in production, you've got a chance to get your hands on with much of what we'll share with you in this talk in just a few weeks. Let's take a look at what some of you and other creators have been creating with Unity this last year.
Ask your questions about your dreams and memories.
It's just so incredible to see so many different visual styles, genres, and platforms represented by everyone here. And I'm looking forward to what's next. So these are the 5 topics we're going to cover today. Creating the most immersive worlds possible, leveraging the efficient game creation tools, our full end-to-end multiplayer solution, our platform support, and through all of this, making sure your games are performing great. So with that, let's dive in. So we hear you. You need to create deeply immersive worlds to entice your players to play. You want the most scalable and efficiently rendered visuals you can get without sacrificing performance, and you need ways to create worlds that draw even the most demanding players in. We also learned that immersion isn't just graphics. It's the ability to have your worlds react to players in dynamic ways, in real time, along with many other things. So to begin, I'd like to introduce Mathieu, who's going to give a rundown of what we're doing with our rendering pipelines and with SpeedTree to give you scalable, immersive experiences.
So hi everyone, my name is Mathieu Muller and I'm product manager for graphics. Now I talk about creating immersive worlds. So in the past few years, we've been incrementally building our rendering technologies called scriptable on the pipelines, and that most of you already probably. And we've been consolidating on one side the common set of functionalities so that we have a better parity across the pipelines, improved performance, customization, visual fidelity, and artist tooling. And on the other side, we've been reinforcing the unique value of each render pipeline. So for universal render pipeline, it's 2D rendering, VR rendering, optimized mobile performance and customizability. And for HDRP, it is improving physically based rendering and environment rendering. So with all these features coming in Unity 6, we think that SRPs are the right place to start with your project. So they will be default in Unity 6. And the built-in render pipeline, built-in renderer will be still available and maintained all along the Unity 6 cycle, which will be a longer cycle than the classical LTS. So on Steam, in like 90% of the games that were shipped, released in 2023, already use SRPs, a third HDRP and third URP for 3D games, the last third for URP for 2D games, and more than 50% of the XR and mobile games also use SRPs. It's based on all this production feedback that we've been shaping 22 LTS and Unity 6. But being used in production doesn't mean it's easy to learn. So we wanted to provide you with all the materials to get started. So first, it's the URP3 samples. They are available on the Unity Hub directly. And it's 4 scenes with 4 visual styles to get you started to be able to deploy on a wide range of platforms from XR, mobile to PC and consoles. Then it's a 2D Happy Harvest project, showcasing 2D lighting, 2D shadows, tile maps, and a lot of the URP 2D renderer features. And finally, because building a game is a lot about customization, each of our rendering package contains samples that you can find on the package manager in the editor, with a lot of examples of custom shader graph, custom VFX, render passes, lens flares. But over all the features, performance is always the number one user request. If you have not watched it yet, I recommend watching the keynote from Unite 2023, and in particular, the Fantasy Kingdom demo in Unity 6, where it's showcasing the performance improvements that we're bringing. By the way, we spent more, like the majority of our development resources on improving performance. And we have 3 groundbreaking advancements. The first one is a GPU resident drawer, which totally changes the way that we are processing the scene and sending it to the GPU. So we leverage parallelization on the CPU, and we store it into buffers so that it's stored and it processed directly on the GPU. And since the scenes are now more processed on the GPU, we could add GPU occlusion cutting, which will discard automatically at each frame the non-visible geometry. And finally, to be able to render at 4K or with high shading quality or post-processing quality on mobile, we are introducing our own cross-platform temporal post-processing upscaler, which is called STP for Spatial Temporal Post-Processing. And this allows to render at a small percentage of the frame resolution and upscale to the final resolution with little loss of visual fidelity. In Unity, extensibility is key. So we wanted to mix extensibility with performance, and sometimes it can be challenging, and that's what render graph is for. So the URP, that's what the URP render graph is for. So the render graph allows to order the render passes so that you can optimize the memory usage, which optimizes the memory bandwidth as well for better performance, but also for improving the battery consumption, which is very important for mobile. But it's also a customizability framework, so you can extend the pipeline through URP render graph while leveraging these low-level optimizations. Now, it's also easy for technical artists to extend the pipeline with shader graph, and create their own custom post-process effect, for example. And for VFX artists, they are not limited to the set of nodes and blocks that we are providing with VFX Graph, because now they can create custom HLSL blocks to create their own system, for example, blocks or custom simulations. But extending and optimizing requires good tooling. We provide already a lot of tools, but we're introducing 3 more tools. The first one is a render graph view, so that you can monitor the different render passes. Like the full rendering framework is available now, and you can see it in this tool. And you can monitor as well the memory and the frame resources usage. Then the shader graph heat map and the VFX graph profiling tools allow to profile and optimize inside a shader or inside a VFX. On the visual fidelity side, one groundbreaking advancement is adaptive probe volumes, or APVs, and it's a system for global illumination that works across a wide range of platforms and scales very well. So it's a probe-based system of like pre-baked in the editor with automatic placement for fast iteration and per vertex or per pixel lighting for great visual quality and performance. It also supports large worlds with an integrated streaming system and supports different lighting scenarios and sky occlusion, so that you can as well create a different time of the day or blend between them and having a continuous time of day. And both adaptive probe volumes and the classical light maps now rely on a newly architectured light baker, which is leveraging the GPU while still running on machines with only 2 gigabytes of GPU memory, so that you have better accessibility for light baking and while getting the performance. For the environment artists, when you want to create a high fidelity environment, most of the time you need to have good sky and good water. So we introduced a new water system in HDRP in 2020s, and we are wrapping up this system with new features, with currents, foam generator, deformers, excluders, as well as better line rendering, water line rendering. And it's all very easy to use thanks to the samples in the package manager and the demos that we are providing as well. And for the sky, we wanted to add the support of time of day, as we mentioned already for APVs. So we added night sky, we improved sunset and sunrise, adding ozone layer, and improve the atmospheric scattering quality and performance by adding it directly into the sky system, so that it works at long distance and for the clouds as well. So then you need to populate this world, and often you need a lot of vegetation and variance of this vegetation. So we released 3.9.5 last year with new tools, for example, the front sections, which allows to procedurally generate variants of leaves, or with a cutout editor to better process your texture atlases, or the projectile system, which allows, for example, to project mushrooms, as we see on the image, or snow on top of your vegetation. And it's all well integrated in Unity 6. There is a new importer, which directly allows to load the Speed 3.9 files and assets. And we improve as well performance, so you can have more vegetation at runtime, thanks to integrating Speed 3 into the GPU resident drawer that I was mentioning previously, and the integration of the Speed 3.9 game win system, which entirely runs on the GPU. So we are already working on Speed 3.10, which we'll be releasing later this year, with again more tools to create more organic options, such as advanced vine tools, for example, or more procedural workflows so that you can trim and shape your trees. And all this is coming in a new editor with a better UX and modernized UX for Speed 3.10. So with this, I give the mic back to Andrew.
Thanks, Matthew. Speaking of generating immersive worlds, we have to talk about the newest Unity product that launched last year, Unity Muse. Unity Muse is a suite of generative AI capabilities that allow you to generate original and copyright-free assets in Editor, thanks to our custom-built, responsibly trained model. And as we continue to improve the underlying AI models, you'll start to see better quality sprite generation and more accurately stylized 2D images. And you may have already seen that we recently updated our Muse texture model to provide better output quality, state-of-the-art material generation, and more texture options. And something we're really excited about are the 3D texture improvements that are shipping later this year. Our AI research team has pioneered a better way to create high-resolution PBR textures from a prompt, an input geometry, or reference images. And with this technology, you can auto-texture full 3D assets with multiple PBR materials in a meaningful and controllable way. And beyond generating art, we know that prototyping immersive worlds with AI needs more than just static imagery. To set up interactions, Muse Behavior allows you to build decision trees in Editor and provides AI to automatically generate the code needed to set up interaction behaviors. To make the most of these interactions and motions, Muse Animate allows you to turn text prompts into animations that can be applied to humanoid characters. We're also working on a new model for even more realistic actions and the ability to turn sketches and videos into character animations. And lastly, we can't forget the audio. Coming later this year, Muse will allow for AI-generated prompt-to-sound effects, such as movement and environmental sounds. On the topic of AI, let's get more advanced with Centus. Centus is our neural engine that unlocks new, previously impossible features in Unity games because it enables you to run and import AI models. You can hook it up once and deploy to any runtime Unity-supported platform, and we see it becoming an indispensable component of the engine. Just take a look at Playmode, a new and quirky game that uses advanced gesture detection powered by AI models running on Centus to unlock really unique interactions. This deeper level of interaction creates a truly dynamic environment. So, you've created the world you're going to immerse your players in, but you need the actual gameplay too, and the user experience, and doing it all as efficiently as possible, including helping you and your team work better together. Productivity upgrades we've made across Unity 6 empower you to create faster and more efficiently, even with the additional functionality you'll see this week. And we hear that creating these kinds of deeply immersive and engaging games you strive for often needs the ability to work together in a streamlined manner. So I'd like to introduce Simon, who's going to walk through some of the improvements we've made in this area.
Absolutely. But before we get into the shiny new tools and workflows, we've also been working hard on the basics. We're delivering many ways to get started and work faster on game projects. On top of the new samples for URP that you've already heard about, we're adding new presets and what we call project-wide actions in the input system package, so that you don't have to keep setting up WSD again and again. We're also introducing new tools to profile the job system better and to help you understand complex dependencies between many threads and jobs. Addressables are also getting better presets and platform defaults to save with repetitive setup tasks for asset bundles. And now for the real step change. AI offers great potential to assist you and your teams with basic tasks and use machine learning-powered tools to get you to solutions faster. Chat, sprite, texture, behavior, and animate will all be available in Editor to complement your existing workflows. As Muse continues to improve and expand, you'll see these take on more in-editor tasks with deeper integration. One very exciting example of this is Muse Chat. With Chat moving in Editor, it is becoming more project-aware. This means that soon you'll start to see responses, solutions, and generated code that are directly tailored to your project. There's also a whole ecosystem of amazing AI solutions out there, and for trusted solutions that you want to use in your project, access is going to be easier in the editor context via the Muse infrastructure. So we're helping bring helpful AI solutions closer to where you work today. With all this new content, you'll also need a better way to manage all these assets. Enter Unity Cloud. Unity Cloud centralizes content and streamlines workflows with connections between Unity Asset Manager, Unity Version Control, and the Unity Editor itself, helping your team to create better games faster and with less of a headache. Unity Asset Manager provides a central asset repository for your studio to store, organize, discover, and deploy content directly into Unity projects. Unity Version Control provides source control that handles large 3D files without any challenges of agility, providing artists and developers with their own specific workflows to keep development moving. Unity Cloud connects all these tools to the Unity editor, eliminating the time that's wasted currently switching between different applications, searching for content, or trying to figure out who on earth has that texture via Slack or email. As a preview of what's coming next in Unity Cloud, this year, we'll continue to roll out new features from Unity Asset Manager, such as versioning, custom asset statuses to help you with complex pipelines, bulk asset editing, and the ability to add comments and annotations. Also, a new feature that enables users to track asset dependencies directly on the dashboard, allowing you to improve your collaboration workflows. We'll also remain focused on developing deeper integrations with the Unity editor and with Unity Version Control to make it easier for teams to work together across projects and pipelines. And rounding back on graphics, we've made it easier to create VFX and custom shaders to bring unique styles to your games. Many of you use Shader Graph and VFX Graph for multiple hours on a daily basis. We're improving the user experience with tons of keyboard shortcuts for both, better management of properties and keywords, and faster undo-redo for Shader Graph, and improving attributes, Blackboard, and node search for VFX Graph. The new VFX Graph template system allows you to create a new effect faster and make it easier to share your own VFX library with the rest of your team. We didn't just stop at quality of life either for VFX, or at smoothing the learning curve. We've also added new features that let UI artists use Shader Graph to create dynamic and responsive UI styles, and visual effects artists take full advantage of VFX Graph with the URP rendering pipeline. And to round out this chapter on more efficient tooling, let's look back at AI and talk about improvements we're making around Sentis. Now, not everyone is an ML expert, so we're working to make Sentis more accessible. In January, we launched an integration with Hugging Face, tagging models that we've validated with Unity Sentis and pre-converting them to the Sentis format. You can import them directly into the editor and they just work. Of course, there are also C# samples to go along with these. If you do want to tweak your models for performance or capabilities, or maybe you are an ML expert, we've got a graph tool to help make that more efficient as well. In-game models have to run fast, hitting 100+ frame rate targets, even with relatively low GPU budgets. Chances are you might have used all the GPU for some of those fancy rendering features we showed you earlier. To speed up inference, we are supporting the new neural chipsets. If your end users have a neural processing unit on their device, then Sentis will automatically take advantage of that extra compute. And lastly, we recently added quantization support, which converts huge model weights from high-precision floating-point 32-bit values down to much smaller int8 values and other variants in between. This can cut down memory usage and compute time sometimes as much as 4 times. You can kind of think of this as being a little bit like LOD, but for your ML. And with that, I'll hand it back to Andrew.
Immersive worlds, check. Dynamic AI-controlled entities, check. Streamlined workflows and great gameplay, check. The next step is to ensure your game lives on post-launch. And a critical factor in success is to drive deep player engagement. That includes making sure your game delivers on what players today expect. And it's no surprise that one thing you've asked for is a better multiplayer creation experience. Unity's fully end-to-end multiplayer solution has become even more robust over the last year. And with Unity 6, it's a powerful way of officially setting up a variety of multiplayer formats and features, including leaderboards, matchmaking, and more. Let's welcome Diana to tell us more.
Hi, my name is Diana, and I'm leading product for Unity Gaming Services. Unity has many solutions to help with a variety of multiplayer game needs. We're working on a series of templates to get you started, but we also understand you often have to navigate technical choices later in the game when it's time to introduce multiplayer concepts to your project. To help with this situation, we're working on a central location in the editor named Multiplayer Center. where you can play with the parameters of your multiplayer goals and see what are the recommended tools, services, or educational materials relevant to your project at this point. You can add some of those directly to your project and start experimenting with those multiplayer capabilities immediately. Once you have a working gameplay, the very next step is to try out multiple clients to get a feel of the experience using separated processes. This is what multiplayer Playmode will deliver. It enables multiple editor instances of clients along with server to be opened simultaneously on the same device, using the same source code, same assets on the disk, providing a more efficient and quick development cycle of multiplayer games. You can see it working here with our casual co-op boss room sample. The next step for your team is usually to involve another playtester. In a casual co-op scenario like we've seen in this slide before, that will often be in a client authoritative multiplayer gameplay coupled to a relay server. To accelerate your playtesting phase, we're integrating Unity Gaming Services Relay so you can simply create a session and get somebody else to join your play mode quickly. Your multiplayer game might require a server authoritative model to prevent cheating, for example, when there is some competition involved. While you could use multiplayer play mode with any netcode stack, here is an example based on DOTS for an action competition game showcased through our latest competitive sample, Megacity Metro. In such a scenario, multiplayer play mode will support the local and remote deployment of a dedicated server to keep the iteration loop as short as possible, even when you have a complex network topology. We've delivered a dedicated server build target, allowing you to create both the client and the server from a single project, reducing significantly the development and iteration time. We're adding additional content selection features that will help you get one step further in that process without custom scripts and help you make that server as lean as possible with options to strip out the client parts of your project. But when you need to introduce a cloud infrastructure in your iteration loop for your dedicated server, it can become difficult and slow to iterate. This is why we have taken steps to automate the upload of your builds to your game server hosting solution in Unity Gaming Services, allowing to mix and match automatic creation of clients and server to run deployment scenarios faster and save you additional integration steps. All the multiplayer gameplay solutions coming to you with Unity Engine are based on the transport package. This package provides a robust, low-level networking layer you can also leverage to build your own customized netcode for specific game needs. Transport now supports Unity Bowell, which means your solution could ship to all platforms. Of course, multiplayer play mode and dedicated server workflows can be used with your custom solutions as well. Building a multiplayer game today often requires to integrate several products and services together with thousands of lines of codes. With our upcoming multiplayer services SDK, we're massively simplifying integration and dependency management while offering a new way to interact with our services. Building rich multiplayer experiences can sometimes feel daunting due to the complexity and high operational costs involved. But what if there was a way to distribute the simulation workflow across clients in a way that's scalable and resilient, reducing the burden on the server and opening up new possibilities for multiplayer development? That's exactly what our new network topology solution called Distributed Authority aims to achieve. By leveraging the familiar Unity netcode solution, netcode for game objects, that you already know, and a new scalable cloud backend that we provide, Distributed Authority enables you to offload a significant portion of the computational workload from the server to the client and offers the flexibility to shift simulation between the two. With such a solution, you can build large-scale multiplayer titles with lower operational costs, engineering effort, and improved scalability to accommodate a larger number of concurrent players, opening up new possibilities for multiplayer development. In the world of multiplayer games, maintaining fair competition is crucial to keep players engaged. However, you often face difficulties when it comes to establishing a skill system of your own. Our skill-based matchmaker will eliminate the need for you to build a skill system from scratch. Through this feature, you can effortlessly compute player skill scores using various metrics, such as wins, loadout, or in-game achievements. The skill-based matchmaker can be easily configured to suit the specific requirements of each game, ensuring a level playing field for all players, which fosters a genuinely fair competitive environment that boosts player retention and engagement. You also want to have better observability to track things that are happening to the matches created by the matchmaker, so that you can see trends or catch issues earlier for debugging. Session Details offers enhanced observability into the matchmaker by providing you with match-level details. You can track major events that occur throughout the lifespan of each match, such as the specific matchmaking rules that have been applied to a match, the joining sequence of individual players, and backfill updates. With match-level observability, you can identify trends, detect and resolve issues faster, reducing time to iterate the matchmaking system. Just as we carefully curate matches to enhance player engagement, our safety solutions are tailored to safeguard our players, making every game not just competitive, but also a secure and welcoming space for everyone involved. Our approach centers on utilizing intelligent AI-based detection systems for efficient monitoring of your voice and text chat, promoting positive behavior to cultivate respect and camaraderie, and take actions to address identified toxic behaviors. Safe Voice uses semantic and acoustic analysis for sharper insights, limiting the need for human moderators to review the evidence. This year, we will roll out rule-based moderation actions, which will increase the productivity and morale of moderation teams even more. We're also excited that we will be launching our innovative Safe Text platform, featuring an adaptive chat filter that actively screens and filters toxic content in real time. Complementing this, our advanced context analysis technology delves into the entirety of conversations, enhancing the detection of toxic content by understanding the context. With integrated evidence from Safe Voice and Safe Text, you can quickly organize and prioritize incidents based on overall risk, toxicity, and disruption scores, and really scale your moderation workflows. You can not only take actions, but also get an overview of moderation activity and player behavior in your game, track sanctions, and assess moderation efficiency using an intuitive dashboard. Together, Safe Voice, Safe Text, and moderation fortify our platform safety suite, allowing you to build communities that are safer by design, game after game. If you want to get a head start on multiplayer, make sure you don't miss our Megacity Metro sample talk. And with that, back to you, Andrew.
Of course, building an immersive and engaging title is critical to the successful reception of your game. But you're also concerned with making sure you're delivering your game where your players are and where they want to play. Unity's industry-leading platform support allows you to build for web, mobile, PC, and XR, including some of the hottest new devices. Let's welcome Tara to tell us more.
Hey everyone, my name is Tara and I'm on the product team here at Unity. Let's cover new features that will help you reach more players across platforms. In Unity 6, we're rolling out improvements to make your life easier when it comes to setting up your builds and exploring new platforms. We've heard from many of you about the challenges of using custom scripts to manage builds because our settings are too rigid and only configurable at the project level. We've taken your feedback to heart and are excited to announce the introduction of build profiles, which give you the flexibility to create multiple profiles for a target platform. For each phase of your project, whether it's a vertical slice, a demo, or the final version, you can set custom settings and scene lists for each profile. And that's not all. We're also making it easier to discover the platforms that Unity supports through the new platform browser. This isn't just a list, it's your new shortcut to get everything set up with the right packages and the right settings for your target platform automatically. Getting your games onto the web presents a huge opportunity for you to reach a larger audience of players. Starting with Unity 6, you'll be able to run your Unity games anywhere the web exists, including mobile browsers. You'll be able to run your Unity titles embedded in a web view inside a native app, or use our progressive web app template to make your games behave like native apps, along with their own shortcuts. And through our strategic partnership with Google, Web GPU is now available in Unity 6 beta. With this early access to the Web GPU backend, you can now experiment with things like compute shaders, GPU skidding, VFX Graph, and more GPU-driven rendering techniques. We've also partnered with Meta to build support for their Instant Games platform. Through Facebook and Messenger, you'll have the opportunity to reach hundreds of millions of players that are discovering games every day. With Unity 6, you'll be able to easily build and publish web-based games to this platform and greatly expand your reach. Next, let's review some exciting news from our partnership with Microsoft. In Unity 6, we're adding native Unity editor support for ARM-based Windows devices. This means you can work on your Unity games on even more Windows devices, taking advantage of the performance and flexibility that ARM-powered devices can offer. You'll also be able to develop Win32 games using Microsoft Game Development Kit, which contains the common tools to build Windows standalone games. We know how important it is that not only do your games install quickly, but they're also performant across many different types of Android devices. To help with this, Unity 6 supports Play Asset Delivery through the new Addressables Android package. With this feature, you'll benefit from dynamic delivery options, and when you combine this with texture compression target formatting, your players will get textures customized for their devices, while still maintaining an overall smaller install size. Unity will also include a new application point game activity, powered by the Android Game Development Kit. This system brings a number of new benefits, including improved threading and enhanced updatability through the use of Android X. We've made some major improvements to iteration speeds while you're developing for console platforms. Unity's incremental build pipeline allows you to iterate more quickly in between builds. Once a scene has been built, subsequent builds will focus only on the delta, meaning build times drastically reduced in most situations. As you can see on screen, when we tested the Boat Attack project, after doing a script change, build times dropped by almost 50% in Unity 6 versus the 2021 LTS. After doing a script change, build times dropped almost 50% in Unity 6 versus the 2021 LTS, and building a scene without any changes dropped from 40 seconds to just over 5. That's a huge improvement that will offer significant benefits to your iteration speeds during development. Lastly, let's dive into new capabilities for XR platforms. While we have a ton of new features coming in Unity 6 for XR development, let's highlight a few of these key features you can use while developing for platforms like MetaQuest and visionOS. Whether you want to expand your existing game with mixed reality, or you're making something entirely new, AR Foundation empowers you to incorporate the physical world into the player's experience in a cross-platform way. And in Unity 6, we're expanding meshing, occlusion, bounding boxes, and persistent anchors to additional platforms like MetaQuest, visionOS, and Android. We're also adding Vulkan support in AR Core and enhancing it for MetaQuest, so your players have smoother, more performant visuals. One feature we're super excited about is composition layers, another way to improve the visual fidelity of your game. Here we have a side-by-side comparison. On one side, a regular texture, and on the other, a composition layer. As you can see, the use of composition layers significantly reduces artifacts, giving us clearer text, sharper outlines, and overall a better appearance. We've also created interactive UI components for composition layers, allowing you to get started with minimal setup or easily convert your existing UI. We know that setting up multiplayer for your VR games is difficult, so we're trying to make this easier through our new multiplayer VR template built on top of OpenXR. This template is a first-class showcase of Unity's breadth of multiplayer services, allowing you to get straight to building content with spatialized voice chat, lobbies, networked interactions, and hand tracking. Finally, a feature I know many of you are excited about. For those developing for visionOS, Play to Device is a game-changing feature that leverages Unity's polyspatial technology to stream your app's content over the local network, enabling you to iterate and preview your content across the Unity editor, the visionOS simulator, or Apple Vision Pro. Any tweaks that you make in the Unity editor, like adding game objects, adjusting inspector values, or refining shader graphs, instantly sync to your simulator or device in real time. And what's even cooler, if you use this new feature while wearing a Vision Pro, you can work in the editor using Mac Virtual Display and see your spatial content right next to it. This is an incredible new way to work while developing your games for visionOS. Thank you all for listening to our exciting updates on Unity platforms.
So, with all the possibilities in front of you and the rich diversity of ideas you want to bring to life, it is important Unity gives you the room you need to explore and grow your ambitions, along with your game's success. We're already hard at work modernizing the foundations of the engine and want to unveil more details about our progress there. Please welcome Laurent to walk you through some of the key aspects of our plan.
Hi, I'm Laurent Gibert, Product Manager at Unity. Before we look at some of our targets for the future, it would be useful to quickly revisit the new foundational capabilities that landed in a Unity engine over the last 12 months. I'm talking in particular about ECS, Entity Component System, a core framework of our data-oriented technology stack, DOTS. Starting with Unity 2022 RTS, ECS is fully integrated into the editor and supported for production on all platforms. An ECS architecture helps design more flexible game code architecture. This allows games like Heroish to pivot their game IDs more easily during production, reducing refactoring risks. ECS also gives you complete control of your target device hardware. This is how a title like Detonation Racing could deliver such an intense gameplay on the target device. ECS efficient memory layout and scalable processing enable the simulation of many more enemies with complex physical gameplay like in Hostile Mars. The many hundreds of thousands of dynamic objects of the V-Rising open world are being brought to life based on the ECS for Unity stack. And finally, ECS for Unity powers a new range of multiplayer gameplay possibilities, thanks to its netcode stack and determinism. If you want to see a fully functional demonstration of this, please check out Megacity Metro, a scalable, high concurrency, cross-platform sample of our end-to-end multiplayer platforms that we playtested with more than 100 players. We are committed to the Dart ecosystem, as demonstrated by the many minor versions of ECS for Unity currently being worked on. ECS 1.1 and 1.2 are already available in the package manager, and we're preparing version 1.3. We've been listening to your immediate feedback from your production environments and prepared many different fixes and improvements that will be delivered back where you work on Unity 2022 RTS and Unity 6 at launch. In a recent survey, 25% of you told us you could use ECS as a solution in production. However, you also told us that ECS can represent a significant learning curve, resulting in a little less than 10% being able to actually implement it in production. This is short of our goal, which is to deliver data-oriented performance to every single one of your projects. This is why we've been at work bringing game objects and entities closer together in a future version of Unity after Unity 6. By doing so, we'll make ECS power available to you in the context of the editor to leverage its runtime power for authoring workflows. This would also make it easier for you to introduce a targeted ECS solution to your game object-based projects to tackle a specific performance bottleneck. And finally, this will help us deliver more performance to all of you, in many cases without having to expose the ECS complexity if you don't need it. The first milestone of this convergence is to ensure that for every game object of your project, there is an equivalent entity linked to it. This simplifies manipulating your project data through both environments. The most important data you usually need to synchronize between game object and ECS are object transformations. This is why we are aligning both transformation APIs and data structure to boost synchronization performance. This will lead us to unify the scene and build workflows to ensure that regardless of the system you use for manipulating your project data, we provide a fully unified experience. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, converging game object and ECS will have amazing applications for scalable project authoring workflows. To illustrate this, we have been working on a major rework of our engine animation system that will be based on ECS. The additional performance row allows us to deliver more complex and dynamic workflows to you in the editor, as well as giving you the ability to have many more characters on screen at an unprecedented level of complexity at runtime. We've also been hard at work to reimagine our world-building workflows based on ECS again. This work will bring us closer to large open world support out of the box in Unity. We'll share more about those developments in the future. Speaking of delivering additional performance to 100% of Unity projects, I'm glad to inform you that we're making significant progress with our migration to core CLR. This is another step in modernizing the core foundations of the Unity engine. The world of .NET is changing rapidly, and performance enhancements are coming with every new version of Friends at Microsoft release. With our work on integrating core CLR to Unity, we'll bring additional raw speed to the editor, simpler IDE build integration, and faster code reload. This will result in major improvements to iteration time. On the other hand, new optimization and garbage collection will dramatically improve the runtime performance. The other signs are pretty good. Some parts of the Unity editors and tests we made with UI Toolkit are running twice as fast. We are excited to deliver all of those performance improvements in future releases of Unity so that you're able to build more ambitious games regardless of your expertise.
Well, there you have it. The bulk of what you saw over this past hour is coming to you soon in Unity 6. Unity 6 Preview will be released in May with full production support until Unity 6 is released later this year. We looked at new tools and new services that, coupled with the improvements and upgrades you've made to the engine overall, go really some way to addressing the most common requests and scenarios you tell us you faced frequently. We're pretty proud of what we're delivering in the next major release of Unity, and we can't wait to see what you can create with it. Thank you for joining us.